It's going to have to be a full-blown, I am sorry, I lied, I am a terrible person, tail in between the legs, and that's what we deserved. Everything, and it really was quite horrific because you just go, what kind of a monster even goes through with this CRD filing? Like, they're basically bullying him again in the law.
Blake Lively is freaking out after Candace Owens hit her with a lawsuit, exposing her for being controlling and narcissistic.
It was monstrous what she did, and she's got to pay for it.
Live birth porn.
She dragged Ryan Reynolds into the chaos, having him pressure Hollywood studios in an attempt to dominate everything behind the scenes.
There's going to be a lot stronger defamation claims against Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan's weak defense completely backfired, exposing both of them. And now Blake's reputation is crumbling in front of the world.
But boy, I mean, it's just like, it's kind of embarrassing, right?
Blake Lively thought she had Hollywood wrapped around her finger, didn't she? Walking around, flipping her blonde hair like she's the queen bee of a real-life high school movie, until March 2025 hit like a truck.
Did it become clear to you that Blake Lively was the aggressor in this now epic showdown? Was it when Baldoni dropped the countersuit? Was it when Brian Friedman put up the website with the 170 pages and all the text? Or was it right away when the Times wrote?
Right away. I've always had an intuition about her, and I've always had an intuition about Taylor Swift and like the branding of the nice girl stuff. And something just didn't. I went through Justin Baldoni's Instagram, and he just seemed like a pup.
Candace Owens decides she's done with Blake's manipulative games and brings out the legal firepower. And she doesn't do it quietly. She storms in loud and flips Hollywood's whole script. Blake probably thought she'd forever control the narrative, smiling that fake red carpet smile while pulling strings in the shadows.
And I knew a bit about her. I knew how she grew up. I knew that she kind of was one of these people. What tends to be the case is that when you grow up with everything, you create things out of nothing because you're looking for struggle in your life and you're used to getting whatever it is that you want.
But the second Owens legally clapped back, Blake reportedly lost her mind, going full tantrum mode, screaming, crying, smashing things like some A-list toddler who just found out the world doesn't revolve around her.
So I just kind of had her down to a prototype and said, I'm going to pump the brakes and see what happens. And then when Brian Friedman came back with the facts, they were just undeniable. You know, it was undeniable.
I mean, can you imagine? This woman's been curating her image for years. Perfect wife, perfect mom, perfect starlet. And all it takes is Candace Owens walking in with a few court papers and a dose of reality to bring the whole fantasy crashing down. What makes it even more hilarious? This courtroom chaos isn't just personal anymore. Oh no, it's cutting into Hollywood's walls.
It was kind of a radical thing to want, and they were arguing that, you know, careers could be ruined. Well, what could be ruined? You know, you might be a little embarrassed, but to ruin a career, there has to be some level of fraud.
We're talking about hundreds of millions down the drain, career losses, legal fees, shattered public trust, all because Blake couldn't manage her tantrums or her obsession with being the ultimate puppet master. Studios, PR firms, everyone's feeling the fallout. And the public? Oh, they're loving every second. Blake's Breakdown is the hottest reality show no one subscribed to, but now can't stop watching.
In terms of how you're presenting yourself to the public and who you are in private.
Now, let's talk about Blake's so-called knight in shining armor, Ryan Reynolds. Or should we say the guy trying to Houdini his way out of Baldwin's lawsuit? March 2025 hits, and Ryan rushes to file a motion to get himself dismissed from the mess.
And so this filing to dismiss is essentially him saying like, nah, 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 boo-boo, I'm a defamation claim, you can't touch me because it's satire.
His excuse? He's just a poor, innocent, supportive husband who just so happened to be standing around while Blake tossed grenades. Please. This man was out there calling Justin Baldwin a predator, spreading it like country club gossip.
Ryan Reynolds did call Justin Baldoni a predator.
And then had the audacity to tell the court, oh, that was just my protected opinion. You know, satire, hurt feelings, that's all. Yeah, Ryan, calling someone a predator at a Deadpool premiere isn't exactly playful banter, but...
There's 5 other claims. He's got extortion, he's got false light, and everything immediately falls apart there. But I'm saying even that was ill-advisable. I would not have said, quote-unquote, hurt feelings and saying, like, they're basically bullying him again in the law.
The judge took one look at that joke of a defense and tossed it out faster than one of Ryan's cringy promo skits. Turns out when you've got extortion claims, false light, and interference with receipts, courts aren't so eager to let you slip out the back door.
They've got you on this extortion. His argument is so weak. He's basically saying, well, I didn't receive any money. And it's like, buddy, extortion is a lot bigger than that. You made threats to go public with sexual harassment claims so that your wife could take over the movie, which you wrote scenes for.
And let's not forget the juicy part, those text messages. Oh yeah, Ryan's little private chats with Hugh Jackman, not helping his case. Apparently, there's a whole lot more in those messages than Ryan wants out in the open. Makes you wonder how many times he trashed Baldwin off camera too.
There's going to be a lot stronger defamation claims against Ryan Reynolds because could you imagine the text messages between him and Hugh Jackman as they're putting together all of these scenes? I mean, it's going to get crazy.
Well, Brian Friedman wasn't holding back either. He straight up called Ryan out, labeled him a key player in the takedown attempt on Baldwin's career, and flashed receipts like a lawyer moonlighting at a roast battle.
I mean, they're all going to have to pay for the associated inconveniences, the travel, the lawyers, if Hugh Jackman, anyone getting deposed who's got to make arrangements for it, if they have to get their own lawyers or whatever it is, and here's Ryan, should be looking out for them and not himself.
But let's get back to the real star of this tantrum saga, Blake Lively. Hollywood's favorite spoiled brat. Candace Owens did not come to play. No sugarcoating, no tiptoeing. She tore Blake apart piece by piece. Called her exactly what she is. Someone spoon-fed privilege from day one, yet somehow still manages to stir up chaos out of pure boredom and deep-rooted insecurity. Blake's had it all. Nice upbringing, cushy Hollywood life, A-list friends. But apparently, that wasn't enough. Nope. She had to orchestrate an entire career-ruining campaign, destroying lives, just because she felt a little threatened.
With that question, I really do think she's just a spoiled brat. Like, it just goes down to something that simple. She's a spoiled brat, and she's used to getting what she wants from a time that she was a kid. And this is what she wanted, and I do think that people have not pieced together.
Candace straight up said it. Blake's the kind of person who stirs up drama from thin air just to feel relevant. And don't even get me started on how she weaponized the media. Remember that flashy New York Times expose she paraded around like a personal sword? Owens dragged her for that too. Blake conveniently left out context, painted Baldwin as the villain, and sat back smugly while the media ate it up. But Candace wasn't fooled. She saw through the fake nice act in a second. She called out the narcissism, the obsession with control, the need to make Hollywood kneel, and made it crystal clear. Blake needs to pay, both in court and in the public eye.
Him and Blake Lively were deluded enough to believe that it was inorganic traffic online. Like this, there's no way people don't like us. We're so wonderful, we're so amazing, we're so hot, we're so pretty. Our friends are rich, we know Taylor Swift. The world loves us. Like, come on.
And can we talk about how satisfying it is to finally see someone push back against Blake's nonsense? For years, she's been hiding behind red carpet smiles, designer gowns, and carefully scripted interviews, all while pulling strings and wrecking careers in the background. But Candace? Oh, Candace came armed with facts and legal fire. She roasted Blake so hard, even her PR team probably hit the panic button. No more hiding behind the America's Sweetheart act. Owens stripped it all down. Blake's not misunderstood. She's a spoiled, manipulative brat who thought she could play God in Hollywood without consequences.
So everything is falling down for you guys because people perceive you as bullies. And you're essentially saying like a bully argument, which is, so what, big deal, sorry your feelings are hurt, but this isn't a rise to an actual claim.
Now Blake's left sitting in the middle of the courtroom circus she created. Lawsuits piling up, Hollywood backing away, and the public finally seeing her for who she really is. That meltdown? Just the cherry on top. Because when Candace Owens stepped in, she didn't just challenge Blake's narrative, she nuked the whole thing. And watching Blake squirm under that heat? Best entertainment we've seen in years.
Thin-skinned outrage, essentially, over us bullying you. That doesn't make you look good on paper, it doesn't make you look good in the court of public opinion, it makes you look like what you actually are, which are a bunch of bullies, if they can get away with everything.
Blake wasn't sitting quietly on the sidelines. She was the one pulling all the strings. Those leaks? The insider reports? Every finger is pointing directly at her as the puppet master behind this ugly lawsuit and media circus. Let's be real, Ryan Reynolds didn't just wake up and decide to nuke Justin Baldwin's career.
No.
Blake had her little marionette strings wrapped tight around Ryan's neck, pushing him into her personal vendetta.
I think of this guy, Sklenar, like Brandon Sklenar. What a miserable guy. I cannot stop focusing on him because...
And let's be honest, Ryan's whole tough guy performance
didn't exactly feel organic.
Sources say loud and clear, Blake was the mastermind behind the act. She wanted her man out there, puffed up, intimidating studio heads and flexing like he runs the industry. Being the shadowy puppet master wasn't enough. Blake wanted frontline action. And guess what? Ryan delivered. Guns blazing just like she ordered.
So every uncomfortable moment, we felt it. Well, now they could do the same thing. You know, but
Right.
Brian Friedman could say, here, exactly. Okay, you want to do a settlement? Here it is. We're going to write, you are sick people who tried to take over my movie and crush a little peanut like me just because I'm a man bun wearing, soft, beautiful soul.
Remember that infamous January 2024 penthouse meeting? Oh yeah, the one that felt like a deleted scene from a mafia movie. Blake handpicked Ryan to be her mouthpiece. Ryan Reynolds, usually the jokester, was suddenly screaming at Baldoni like a man possessed, while Blake sat back smugly, watching her plan unfold. She wasn't just a bystander. She was the mastermind, orchestrating every second.
Ryan has true daddy issues, and he's had this sociopathic character trait since he's been in my drama club.
And let's not forget her masterpiece, Blake's carefully crafted demand list at Sony. She basically marched into those meetings with a wrecking ball, threatening to shut down production if they didn't bow to her every whim. Sony execs probably needed therapy after dealing with her tantrums. And when those 170 pages of text receipts went public, the entire illusion shattered. No more sweet Blake narrative, just the raw truth. A control-obsessed, power-hungry diva who played everyone around her like chess pieces. And I
actually do believe that Ryan Reynolds has demonstrated that he's a narcissist. He's a total narcissist. He cannot comprehend a world. I truly believe he cannot comprehend a world in which him and his wife are not right.
But Blake didn't stop at controlling Ryan. Oh no. She brought the drama straight to the studios and production crews. Welcome to the extortion chapter of this Hollywood circus. Sony execs made it crystal clear. Blake and Ryan's legal team threatened to walk off set, fully aware it would tank the studio with multi-million-dollar losses.
People that tend to be that vicious and be that angry have unresolved pieces of themselves. And he said as much in this It Ends With Us skit that had nothing to do with the movie. He said he has unresolved issues, and they're daddy issues. They're daddy issues.
And they're daddy issues. They're like daddy issues. We're not talking spare change here. These are blockbuster productions with entire teams, timelines, and contracts on the line. And Blake? She leveraged all of that like it was her personal power token.
Because of that, he was really just using Justin Baldoni as a punching bag, because there was something about Justin Baldoni's character constantly talking about, the real Justin Baldoni, doing this inner healing and childhood healing and addressing your true self that triggered him.
Email evidence spilled every dirty little detail. Blake demanded directorial control like she was Spielberg overnight. She forced out Baldoni, shoved composer Brian Tyler aside like dead weight, and probably didn't even blink. Oh, and don't forget the leaked texts, where Blake goes full dragon mode, breathing fire at anyone who dared push back. Even Taylor Swift got caught in the flames, roped into Blake's ridiculous demands, whether she liked it or not.
They used to replace what his name is, Brian Tyler, the composer on the movie. Well, Taylor Swift is not going to give you this unless we get what we want. She wants this credit. She wants this credit. She wants her edit.
Candace Owens didn't miss a beat exposing this. She laid it out plain as day. Blake wasn't negotiating. She was extorting. Threatening sexual harassment claims to force the studio's hand? That's not assertiveness, that's coercion. Owens called it for what it was, a full-blown hostage situation. Brian Friedman backed her up, too, pointing directly to the receipts showing Blake used threats, manipulation, and straight-up bullying to get her way. You want to know who's been running the show? Not the studios, not the producers. It's Blake, storming through Hollywood like she's the self-appointed queen pin.
Then they go on to claim that Ryan Reynolds' extortion claim is invalid because he, quote, fails to allege that he received any money or property. Okay, that's a completely ridiculous argument to say, well, you can't prove that this was extortion because Ryan didn't personally receive any money or property is just dumb.
But here's where it gets even juicier. Blake's entire PR machine, her precious, carefully polished image, crumbled right before her eyes. Candace Owens blew it wide open. Blake wasn't just a behind-the-scenes string puller. She was running the full media manipulation playbook. Owens revealed that her takedown of Baldwin wasn't just a legal ambush. It was an all-out media war, straight out of the Operation Mockingbird playbook. But instead of intelligence agents, it was Blake and her PR team gaslighting the public like it was part of their job description.
And we got to read Ryan demanding that they make a public statement taking full ownership over Blake's reputation being sunk by her own interview.
And the New York Times? Glamour magazine? Yeah, they got caught in the crossfire, used as pawns in Blake's personal propaganda machine. Fluffy articles defending her, painting her as the misunderstood victim, while burying the truth about her toxic behavior. Candace Owens took a sledgehammer to that narrative. She called it out. These outlets were nothing more than Hollywood's gaslighting tools, propping up Blake's story while she bulldozed people's lives in the background.
Ryan himself quarterbacked this entire situation, okay? Also, don't forget, remember, Blake chose him to be her quote-unquote representative.
Owens didn't stop there, though. She connected the dots, showing exactly how Blake's tactics mirrored the same psychological warfare seen in classic propaganda campaigns. And suddenly, people are waking up, realizing this isn't just some messy celebrity lawsuit. It's a full-blown case study on how stars exploit the media to push their agendas. Blake thought she could finesse her way through, hiding behind curated interviews while causing chaos behind the scenes. But Owens? She kicked the closet door wide open, and every skeleton Blake tried to bury is now center stage.
She quite literally spells that out in her own complaint, that she had a right to choose somebody to be her representative, and she chose Ryan. So you can't do the now I'm just a doting husband. You can't do I did what any husband would do, and I just believed my woman. Okay?
And it's not just about Blake's PR image anymore. It's about the entire system that got exposed with it. Blake Lively, Hollywood's golden girl, turned out to be the reigning queen of manipulation, extortion games, puppet strings, and a masterclass in gaslighting the public. Owens flipped the script and revealed just how far Blake was willing to go to protect her crown. And honestly, watching her empire collapse under the weight of her own lies, it's the plot twist no one expected, but absolutely everyone is here for.
Well, it's going to have to be a full-blown, I am sorry, I lied, I am a terrible person, tail in between the legs, and that's what we deserve.
Ryan Reynolds really thought he could play the victim card in this mess. His legal team walked into court, straight-faced, trying to convince everyone that calling Justin Baldoni a predator was just harmless satire. Yeah, because apparently labeling someone a predator at Hollywood events is now considered a comedy sketch.
Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing, okay? He has just been publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni as soon as he could, as many times as he could, and using as many A-list actors as he could.
They argued that the whole thing was just thin-skinned outrage over a joke, like Reynolds was doing stand-up, not publicly dragging a man's name through the mud. The court wasn't buying that nonsense, and neither was the public. People lit him up. Everyone saw right through it. Bullying wrapped in a Deadpool punchline doesn't make it less toxic. Nobody's laughing, Ryan.
So the idea that Ryan's going to come to court and claim that he is wrongly named in this lawsuit, it just sort of offends my sensibilities a little bit. Just like it offends my sensibilities to keep telling me that you keep writing yourself as a homosexual man into all of these various circumstances.
And Candace Owens, oh, she absolutely obliterated him for it. She didn't hold back, calling out Ryan's odd little habit of inserting himself into every skit, every movie, every talk show bit as some pseudo-homosexual character. Not because it's funny, but because it strokes his ego and feeds his need for control. Candace said what everyone's been thinking but too afraid to voice. Ryan's so-called humor is just a flex for dominance, especially when he's not the center of attention. He wasn't roasting himself, he was roasting Baldoni, disguised as comedy. But here's the kicker. When you've got text receipts, public quotes, behind-the-scenes script notes, and witnesses backing the smear campaign, you can't hide behind a Deadpool mask anymore.
Just imagine what his text messages are going to say about Justin Baldoni. If he was willing to call him a predator publicly, as he assumed this nice pool character, just imagine what we're going to find when we can read text messages between him and Hugh Jackman.
Ryan's entire defense collapsed in court, right alongside the illusion that he was just some clueless, supportive husband caught in the storm. No, he was knee-deep in it, crafting scenes, pressuring execs, and leaving his fingerprints all over the damage.
But also said that Blake is really tough on Ryan. It's not just Ryan, but that she is like, look, you're the A-list guy. You need to do this. Show me you are that big, powerful guy in Hollywood.
And the best part? Candace didn't stop there. She slyly hinted that Ryan might soon be looking for an escape plan, not just from the lawsuit, but from the marriage itself. Imagine that. Putting your career, your public image, and your relationship on the line to play attack dog for Blake Lively, only to realize the courts aren't letting you off easy. Brutal.
Like 30 times via various skits, so some skits that were in movies, some skits
Family
that
Guy?
were just a part of the Golden Globe. No one says, like, hints that he's gay more than Ryan Reynolds does.
Now, speaking of brutal, let's talk about the social fallout crashing down on Blake like a Category 5 hurricane. All those shiny, loyal Hollywood friends she used to flex on red carpets? Gone. Vanished. Sources confirm that folks like Bradley Cooper, Hugh Jackman, and Sean Levy are keeping their distance, and fast.
He's mumbling through giving word salads and he's so miserable. Then, of course, Ryan Reynolds gets him to do this dumb skit with Hugh Jackman and Ryan's mom. And there's Sklenar. He doesn't have the ability to say no because he wants to be as big as Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman one day, so okay.
No more A-list brunches. No more #squad goals photo shoots. Blake's glittery empire is in full-on collapse mode. And no one wants to be buried in the wreckage. Even Taylor Swift, the ultimate name drop Blake clung to like a security blanket, is ghosting the situation and dodging subpoenas like it's part of her era's tour choreography.
And then we're going to see the rubber meet the road. They're going to understand what the implications are of these subpoenas. They're going to understand what the implications are of putting Taylor Swift under oath and going through Taylor Swift's text messages.
Blame her. Blake's been using Taylor's name like a golden ticket, dragging her into meetings, acting like she had Queen Taylor's personal blessing for every shady move. But now that it's all hit the fan, Taylor's pulled a disappearing act. Classic.
But I'm going to go with it's also Ryan Reynolds. I think Ryan Reynolds has a few secrets in the closet, too, that they don't want people to be taking a look at, and it's going to destroy these people. That's why they wanted this attorney's eyes-only privilege.
Studios aren't faring much better. Sony probably wishes they never picked up Blake's calls. After giving in to every diva demand, rewriting scripts, firing composers, bending over backwards, what did they get in return? Millions lost in reshoots, skyrocketing legal fees, and PR dumpster fire. And of course, Candace Owens didn't miss the chance to spotlight how deep Blake's petty jealousy went, especially when it came to Scarlett Johansson.
People have not pieced together, and I've been speaking about it, the Scarlett Johansson piece of this is also something. She's the one that walked away from Ryan. He has control issues, and she was working with Wayfarer on her directorial debut.
Apparently, Blake was so pressed over Scarlett's directorial debut that she hijacked control of It Ends With Us, just to outshine her. Like she couldn't stand seeing Scarlett rise, so she threw tantrums until she grabbed some power herself. Newsflash, Blake, jealousy isn't a flex, and it definitely isn't a business strategy.
She's not that smart. She's not a brilliant actress, and she's not a Scarlett Johansson. And I think that, she suffers from that insecurity of wanting to feel like she belongs in the A-list club that Taylor Swift is in.
And what about Blake's big dream of being the next Reese Witherspoon-style power player? Producing, directing, building a media empire like she's Hollywood royalty in heels. Yeah, that dream's gone. Toast. Replaced by lawsuits, scorched PR bridges, and the entire industry finally seeing that behind the polished Instagram aesthetic was a full-blown control freak. She didn't want to collaborate, she wanted to dominate. And now, she's not the boss. She's the cautionary tale. Because this is the crash, the full collapse of the sweet starlet image, the perfect wife act, the golden girl fantasy. Candace Owens lit it all up. Every lie, every fake smile, every tantrum disguised as ambition. And Owens wasn't asking for quiet apologies in private meetings. She demanded public accountability. Blake's brat behavior caught up to her, and Hollywood's glossy mask slipped just long enough for everyone to see the mess hiding underneath.
But that lets me know that they're scared, and they're not going to admit that until they lose the dismissals, and then I think they're going to want to settle. And a settlement's a good idea if they give the full mea culpa.
Ryan Reynolds? His failed legal stunt sealed the deal. Taylor Swift? Radio silent. Media outlets? Scrambling, backpedaling, trying to untangle themselves from the Blake Lively brand. And Blake, once the darling of talk shows, now left standing completely alone in the rubble she created. This wasn't just a tantrum. It was a full-scale implosion. The meltdown of a career that was built on charm, control, and carefully curated lies. And now, it's all ash.
That's everybody leaving Blake alone in it, right? Did he just bail on his wife?
And if you thought Blake's little meltdown couldn't get more pathetic, Hollywood's officially treating her like she's radioactive. Studios aren't just pulling back, they're whispering. Directors, producers, execs, they've all seen what happens when you give Blake too much power. PR nightmares, lawsuits, millions lost. Nobody's signing up for round 2. She's not a power player anymore. She's a liability in designer heels.
That is a financial threat. You're saying to them, do what we want, this as a first step, do what we want, or else we're going to walk away from your project and leave you millions of dollars in the hole, as you're going to have to reshoot everything you shot, plus find another lead character to move.
Even the red carpet isn't safe anymore. Blake's name used to guarantee covers, fluff pieces, glowing interviews. Now, tabloids are feasting. The same outlets that once praised her every move are dropping exposés on how she micromanaged, manipulated, and manufactured that nice girl persona while yanking strings like a Hollywood dictator. She wanted dominance. Now she's got it. In the form of a public downfall everyone's watching like it's the finale of the trashiest reality show ever aired. And here's the irony. Blake didn't just want to be famous. She wanted to be untouchable. The next Queen Bee. The new Reese. Instead, she became the blueprint for how not to play the game. Throw tantrums, ruin lives, weaponize media, and burn every bridge? Don't be shocked when the hive turns on you. Eyes hit that subscribe button because this meltdown? Oh, it's just getting started.